going to give me the cash? Or do I kill your brother first? Before I kill you.
Why don't you try sticking your head up your ass? See if it fits.
I would say the most defining experience about Scarface was my first opportunity to work with a truly great actor. Working with Al, he's like a, incredible talent.
All of the films that I have made with Al, I have created for him, specifically for him, specifically for the things that I thought he could do best playing. I have a long and an old relationship with Pacino. I represented him when he first started. So I have a great knowledge of his instrument, which helped me in Scarface and the other films I made with him.
I'm Tony Montana, a political prisoner from Cuba. And I want my fucking human right now.
I felt that this Scarface was a piece of so many different kinds of gangsters we've seen. He was representative of a collective person. He wasn't organized so much. He seemed almost like a renegade in all of this. Even though he would comply, you knew eventually that he couldn't stick to any format, any controlled environment. He was out of control, which was an attractive thing in his character to play.
Who put this thing together? Me! That's who! Who do I trust? Me!
But it was a long, arduous casting process. Stephen was somebody that we saw right in the beginning and liked right in the beginning.
I was born in Cuba in '56. Actually, I was born the day that Fidel Castro arrived from Mexico, ready to start the revolution. My dad, at a certain point, decided that things were not going to get any better, so he gathered us together and he took us to the airport, my little brother, myself, and my mom. It's 1960. They got off the ground, and once they were in airspace, in the international airspace, he said, I'm not going back. I'm out, I'm gone. So he arrived in Miami, he had a dime in his pocket. We lived from house to house, from different people's houses in the first few months, and did the whole exile experience.
We're gonna be out of this place in 30 days. Not only that, but we got a green card and a job in Miami, man. Now are we made, or are we made, man?
Over the years, I grew up to be an American. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be like the kids in my school who didn't have Spanish surnames. Got through high school, went to Europe, saw Europe, and came home and I said, I've got to do something. I went to junior college just to kind of kill time, and then and I walked into an audition for a play, for a Tennessee Williams play. And I got cast. And once I was in the process, in the rehearsal process, I said, this is it. This is what I do. I was living in Manhattan and studying with Stella Adler and going through that whole journey of the starving actor. And I got a call about an interview. And this woman, she's casting this film. It's called Scarface. It's starring Al Pacino. And the second role is his buddy. So I go, and she says, oh my God, they're right. You're perfect. She goes, I have to call Brian. She gets on the phone and calls Brian. And Brian says, send him over. So I go meet Brian. He says, okay, all right, so you speak Spanish, right? Yeah, you're cute. You're really cute. Yeah, I'm Cuban. And he goes, okay, well, he calls Marty Bregman. He says, okay, I'm calling the producer. He calls Bregman. He goes, yeah, he's right. He's perfect. So I went back to LA and I met Marty Bregman. And Bregman, from day one, says to me in his voice, he says, kid, you're gonna do this movie. You're gonna play Manny. You can't get the part yet because there's a lot of variables, a lot of things. But hang on to this thought, learn this, be it, and be ready when the time comes, step in. You're gonna do it.
Stephen Bauer was chosen to play the second male lead in this after he had read for us. His background certainly didn't indicate that he could stand up on screen next to Al because most of the scenes were with Pacino. And if you look at any of Pacino's work, it's very difficult to watch any other actor if he's on the screen. And Stephen, in a reading, convinced us very quickly that he was the right person for this.
Eventually, we said, okay, you're gonna meet Al. He was in Brian's office, and I went over there, and it was love at first sight, though. It was great. I walked in, and he was there. He was there, and he's just he's like a kid, And we hit it off like immediately. It was done deal. It was like we were ready to start to be those guys.
Stephen and I became very close friends, And we spent much time together and just going over our relationship and what it was in the past. And we enjoyed it. We had fun doing that, making a kind of a scenario, making up a story. And that was a lot of the work we did together.
Told him what you told me to tell him. Told him I was in sanitation. They didn't go for it.
Sanitation?
Yeah.
I told you to tell him he was in a sanitarium, not sanitation.
But there was a long process until we ultimately settled on the final cast. You know, we're getting to a point where these decisions had to be made. Al would sort of go back and forth about, well, this is good, but this isn't quite working. And we ultimately had a screen test at the 9th hour and finally decided on Michelle.
Tony Montana.
Hello.
Manny Rivera. Vida.
Michelle Pfeiffer was a young actress that nobody had heard of. Michelle Pfeiffer's agent called me and suggested that I meet with her. And I said, well, if she would be good enough to fly herself in, I would see that she would certainly get a reading. And she did. For me, that was very important. I had every intention of paying for her transportation, which we did before we hired her a couple of months later. But if a young actor is that committed or is that interested in doing that role, that they would take the dollars, and they would, which are hard-earned dollars at that point in their careers, and come in or make that kind of an effort, we always pick up the tab. And she did, and we auditioned her we read her with Al, with a lot of other young ladies. I think we auditioned every young actress in the business at that point. And at the theater that we used as a casting, when she got up on stage, she brought Al to life.
Hey, Jose. Who I when and how I fuck is none of your business, okay?
Now you're talking to me, baby. That I like, okay? Keep it coming, baby.
Don't call me baby. I'm not your baby.
Not yet, but you gotta give me some time.
It's interesting because I don't think even he was aware of it, but it happened. The relationship happened there. It was right then and there. Because nobody heard of this girl, and we were interested in maybe casting this role up, but when she was just magic. And that's why we use it. There was no question in my mind from the moment I saw her read that she was going to do this part.
Michelle Pfeiffer was very interesting because it was one of her earlier movies, and I think she was very attentive and committed, and she is a very involved working person. She's involved all the way. And I think with this picture, I didn't know her, and she seemed like she wanted to discuss a lot of what was going on. And I remember her being very intense and interesting.
I catch you here again, I'm gonna wipe you all over the fucking place.
Oh,
Do you understand?
Yeah, go ahead. Do it now. I want to see it. I want to see it now, big shot.
Don't push me, baby.
No, I want
Don't
to see it now.
Get the fuck out of here!
Mary Elizabeth Vance Antonia was a very wonderful young actress when I first met her. And we picked her like we picked Michelle Pfeiffer. We read her, and she was magic. And she was the person. She was Gina.
Mary Elizabeth, I remember rehearsing with her and going over some. I can even remember talking about what was going on in this relationship, because it was a strange thing that does take place, and I don't think he thought of his sister that way. But he felt a love for her, and he felt a purity for her that obviously represented something to him. He endowed her with this kind of innocence and saintliness. It was an odd thing and an interesting thing to have in a movie. It had a certain tragic element to it.
She's beautiful. How come you...
Hey! Just stay away from her, man. You hear? She's not for you.
We just clicked, you know. She was their favorite, and I was their favorite, and they put us together, and we read, and it was just right. The chemistry was right, and she's just as wholesome and as able to turn and be that fire, you know, that spitfire, you know, when she turns on him.
You got some nerve! You got some nerve, Tony! You think you can come in here now and tell me what to do?
Get out of here.
You can't tell me what to do, Tony. No more. I am not a baby anymore. I'll do what I want to do. I'll see whoever I want to see. And if I want to fuck him, Tony, then I'll fuck him.
I don't know why. All her scenes used to make me, I get all choked up because she's so pure, you know.
It comes down to one thing, Tony boy. Huh? And you never forget. Lesson number 1. Don't underestimate the other guy's greed.
Robert Loggia was chosen, again, on the basis of a reading. Robert Loggia is a fine actor, and he fit the role, and he did an exemplary job.
I thought Robert Loggia seemed to just embody this guy, and he was. I felt very daring in his portrayal. He and F. Murray Abraham, I thought both of them contributed a great deal to the movie.
How do you think of him?
I think he's a fucking peasant.
Yeah. But you give a guy like that on your side, it breaks his back for you.
The group that we surrounded Pacino with in the film were all Cuban, basically all Cuban. Anytime that there was a problem in the accent, in Al's accent, they had the right to interfere and suggest that he was off with it.
You a communist? Huh? How'd you like it? They tell you all the time what to do, what to think, what to feel.
Robert Easton was a tremendous help to me with the dialect, and also the Cuban people who I met and spoke with, who gave me a lot of insights into some of the mannerisms and stuff, all of which I tried to put into a capsule and swallow and see what would come out. And I was trying more not to be as authentic, because I don't believe you can really be authentic unless you can mimic very well. But if I could take the accent and the mannerisms and sort of just heighten them in a way for this approach to this movie, because I think Brian De Palma was going to take a larger-than-life approach to this film, to conceptually deal with the movie in a more operatic style, just slightly larger than life. And so I think that was incorporated into my interpretation.
Al did a lot of the interesting things. When I first met him, we were doing some screen tests. We were testing Michelle Pfeiffer and other ladies. And then after we finished that day, he said, "Johnny, can I ask you a big favor?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Only speak Spanish to me once we start the movie." I said, "Really? Why?" He said, I want to hear Spanish. And he said, "Maybe I don't understand, but just talk to me in Spanish." So I did. For the entire picture, Al Pacino and John Alonzo spoke Spanish.
He was Spanish himself, so when I was off with an accent, I asked John if he would help me, and I love that he spoke to me in Spanish.
That's part of his preparation, and I think that's part of what makes him one of America's finest actors.
We had a month of rehearsal time. This is unheard of, you know, but Bregman insisted on it, and Brian insisted on it, and we rehearsed that thing. We could have taken it on the road like a play. Scene, 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 bang, bang, bang. We had a great cast, you know, these great actors. Brian was great, his graciousness and his generosity and the wisdom, really, that it took to allow what he allowed, allow for exploration and spontaneity when there was room for it.
It was a whole ensemble piece, and a lot of playing the scenes back and forth, and Al and the other actors would find, you know, they would improvise things and find things to build into the scenes, and Oliver would come back and rewrite them. There was a lot of that.
I felt good when he was involved because, first of all, he responded to the script in such a passionate and positive way. And this idea he had of making this thing larger than life, a little bit more heightened reality, appealed to me.
Say hello to my little friend!
And I know every actor I've ever met does Tony Montana.
This country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
You know, whether it's Bruce Willis, who does an incredible Tony Montana, or Tom Cruise, who does an incredible Tony Montana, or Alec Baldwin. I mean, you know, they all do him. I mean, it's like, you know, we used to do Marlon Brando and On the Waterfront. You know, it's such an audacious character with such wonderful lines. You know, and Al did such an incredible performance that, you know, every actor in the world loves to play that part.
So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.